Stepping life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Stepping life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Stepping life in the power of the tongue. Live your life, love Christ, do your best to
Speak life.
Stepping life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Stepping life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Stepping life in the power of the tongue. Live your life, love Christ, do your best to
Speak life.
Hello and welcome to the Speak Life podcast. This is our second episode and we are super excited about what's going to happen. I am your host, Minister Phoenix, alongside my beautiful and amazing wife.
Hey, welcome y'all. This is the one and only Sheikah. Welcome to the second episode of the Speak Life podcast.
Yes, so today we are going to deal with a very interesting topic. And the reason I thought about this topic to bring it forth is because in the time that we're living in, we have this cancel culture where people will bring up stuff from people's past that may have happened like 30 years ago, 20 years ago, and then hold it against them in today's day and age and cause them to lose their jobs, cause them to lose out on endorsements and everything. So my question that we are really going to dig into today is this question of, can a person change? Can a person change? Now, I think about it like this. We have behaviors that change, but does a person really change? And my thought about this is, you know, we always hear this saying all the time. You can take a man out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the man. And I look at just my life in particular, and you know, coming up in Roxbury and some of the mindsets and things that I think about. There's times where something will happen, and immediately I will start thinking, and I will have like a hood reaction, and I'm like, I gotta catch myself, and I'm like, whoa, hold on, you ain't like that anymore. So my question is, can a person change? Can a person change?
Well, you know what? I believe that a person can change. For example, you know, I look at myself and I see how I have changed. I've seen where people used to get underneath my skin to the point where I would want to fight you. And now I'm like, I'm a Christian, and I'm like, you know what? I can't do that no more. So I take it to a different level where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to leave you to God.
But let's be honest. Have you ever thought about giving someone the mittens, even though you know you changed and that ain't you anymore? Do you ever feel like just really like just handling someone sometimes? Because I know for me, I get in my moments and someone will do something and I start feeling with. I'm like, whoo. I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel, because I be feeling, you know, like I just wanna give it to him.
Well, you know what? Yes, definitely that comes to, you know, mind at times, but then that's yourself. But then you gotta like for me, I quickly revert back to like, now I know Jesus. So I can't act in a way where I would normally do before I got saved. But now that I am, like, those thoughts will come. But then, you know, you're like, okay, let me take myself out of the equation and I turn it over to God.
And this is my thing, you know, because people will have you feeling like because you thinking about you want to knock someone out, that don't mean you change. So I'm just curious, like, does it still mean that you a changed person even when you be thinking about knuckling someone up? Because I think, you know, I'm a changed man. I know I'm a changed man. But there be times where my mind just don't be where it's supposed to be, and I want to just like handle someone. But that doesn't mean I ain't changed. You know, everyone, we got these emotions that we're constantly dealing with. And as long as, you know, I'm not acting on this, I feel like that change is still present. The fact that I'm not ready to fight you in the streets shows that change is still present. So what do you think? Do you think that, you know, just because you be thinking about it, that doesn't mean you change, or that you authentic in your transformation?
I think not because you're thinking about it. I think you still change because the way that you were and what you would have done if a situation arise, that's not the way you're going to handle it anymore. So I think that you are changed, because if you wasn't changed, then you would be handling the situation the same way like you would before.
Preach that.
So we're human, so therefore we are going to our flesh is going to take over. We're going to go back into a human mindset. But as long as we remember that we're saved and now we have Jesus that we could turn it over to, then let's do that.
Jesus, take the wheel. Yes. And one of the things that really gets me is like the timetable for how long it takes for change to take place. Like, can we put a definitive marker on how long it takes? Because some people will look at you and be like, you've been saved for so long and you still acting like you're crazy, or you've been in church this long, or they expect change to happen overnight. But change is a process, and I can't stress this enough. Change is a process. I don't think that we can put a definitive timetable on how long it takes someone to change.
Yeah, I agree with Minister Phoenix. You cannot put a timetable. And one thing that I believe when it comes to change is that it depends on the person's mindset. Like, if the person want to change and they're like, I really want to change, I know I want to change, and they're going to do whatever they can to change. But some people say they want to change, but based on their actions, it doesn't show that they want to change. So I believe that it depends on the person, like how long it takes, how long the process takes. Yes, it's a process, but I also believe that it depends on the mindset of the person.
I think, with different people are complex. I can't stress this enough. We as people are some very complex individuals, and what may be easy for me may not necessarily be easy for you. What may be difficult for me may not necessarily be difficult for you. And I really think that the timetable really depends on the person. And also, like you said, I'll agree with you there, is the desire of the person. If you are authentic and you really are sincere about, I'm trying to change, it doesn't mean it's gonna come overnight. It is definitely a process, and for some people the process really does take longer. And just thinking about, how do I know if someone really is changing? How do I know if, someone's saying they want to change and they're taking steps to what looks like they're changing? How do I know that it's just not a facade? How do I know they're just not, putting on? How do I know that they're just not fronting for me, in the light, but, behind closed doors, that they're really, not just like playing the game? And when it comes to recognizing authentic change, I think, in the Bible where it says, you can recognize recognize a tree by its fruit. If you see the fruits of change, I think you can deem that a person is truly authentic in what they're trying to do.
Yep. So I want to add on to you what you said. But for me, I also think that it's, again, based on the person's action. You're going to see it, that they change. So if the person says they change and they're not showing you that they change, then clearly they're not changed. They may change some things, but there's something else there that needs to be changed.
But does change happen in a vacuum? No. Like we said, it's a process, so in the midst of trying to get where, we're trying to get to, I feel like there's still work that always needs to be done. Even, when you feel like you've achieved something, there's still always work that, needs to be done. We're always improving. We're never going to be perfect, but, we strive to try to really get to where we're trying to get to. And I think that's really important in recognizing, change in individuals. Because I think of myself, like when I first got saved, there was a lot of things that I wanted to get rid of, and through the process of it, it was a process. It was like one day I'd be like, dropping all sorts of F-bombs, this, that, and the next. And I was saved. I was saved up, down, inside, and out, but that was one thing that I just was hard for me to shake. And it's like through the process of going through, being saved and letting God work on me, I saw where change was able to, take its root and do what it needed to do. So it's kind of like, you're peeling back the layers of an onion. You want to get down to where that nice onion is so you can cook, but you still got these hard layers on the outside that you still got to peel off. So, where you say, there may be actions there. Change definitely still does need to take place, but you still do have to recognize that, someone's trying and that they're taking steps in the right direction, So one of the things that, I see often is, where things happen that cause people to change. And I wonder, how y'all feel about this. Do you believe, you can answer this question, babe. Do you believe that something has to happen in order for someone to change, like an event or, something?
I don't think something have to happen. I think that, maybe the person just realized that, there's something different about them. There's something about them that they just don't like about themselves. And they realize it and they come to grip with it and they know it and no one could tell them otherwise, and they're like, you know what, I don't like this about me, so I'm gonna do something about it. I'm going to try to change it. So something doesn't necessarily have to happen, but the person could just see something within themselves that other people might not see or might not know, because we know ourselves the best. So therefore, it doesn't necessarily mean that something have to happen.
I like that one. And just thinking about this, just taking it a little step further, I don't believe events have to happen for a person to change, but I do think that events can be a very powerful catalyst to push someone into wanting to change. And when things tend to happen, I think of that episode of Blackish when, they were on the rocks in their marriage, and it's like it took Bo's father to die for them to really, get back together and realize, how important that bond was. So I think, events and things happening to people can be a catalyst for change, but I don't think that it's absolutely necessary for something to happen for an individual to want to change or for an individual to actually change. And this is a big one that I hear about a lot, especially when it comes to like social media and things like that. It's the question of this: can a person like me or you, can I cause someone to change? Can I make someone change? A lot of times parents, we want this for our children. We see our children cutting up and acting up, and we're like, oh, I'm gonna make you change. You gonna change today, and and we don't understand like why aren't our kids changing? Some of us be running after our kids with like belts like, boy, you gonna change. You gonna change. I don't like this behavior. You gonna change. So especially for parents, where we have our children, like, can we force them to change? Can we make them change? Can we threaten them until they change? Like, if you don't change, you gonna get it. Like, can a person really make another person change?
I don't think a person can make someone else change.
Why not?
Again, I will say that if we're going to look at it as a parent and a child relationship, and the parent want the child to change, then we know we're going to give the child different guidance. We get into why they should change, examples of why they should change, why they shouldn't do what they're doing. But at the same time, they have to want to change. It doesn't matter how much you tell a person to change, they have to want the change. It doesn't matter how much you want it for them. If they don't want it, they're not going to change. So you are just like wasting your breath, basically. Like, they need to be able to want it as well. So that's my take on it.
So in a parent relationship situation, you can guide them into what you want them to do. What about in a I want to say a fiance situation. And I look at movies and TV shows, and, we see where, the future spouses, right? They'll see something about their spouse that they don't necessarily like. And this is how they were throughout their whole relationship. And they think, you know what? When we get married, I'm going to change this person. I'm going to make them be like this, or I'm going to make them be like that. What do you think they setting themselves up for?
I think they're setting themselves up for failure. They're setting themselves,
disappointment.
Exactly.
Yes.
To be disappointed. You cannot wait until you get married and then you're like, you know what, I'm going to change this person. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, you better try before you get married, because when you get married, then you become comfortable. Then you're like, oh, I got what I want. Now, like, it's going to be hard.
But there's people who really think like this. Like, nah, it's okay now. They can act the fool now. They can cut up now. But when we get married, I'm a change them. I'm a whip them into shape. I'm a bend them out of these bad habits. I'm a absolutely transform them into the most amazing spouse that I want them to be. And there ain't nothing you can do about it.
At the end of the day, the only one that could change a person's heart is God.
Thank you. That's what I was leaning for right there. That's what I was trying to lead you into right there.
So at the end of the day, like, we cannot change anyone. We have to pretty much leave them to God and pray to God on their behalf.
I could pass
and
an
hope
offering on that.
They change. And sometimes it doesn't matter how much you pray for a person. It doesn't matter how much you pray for your children, your spouse, your siblings, like your parents. It does not matter. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. And you're like, I've been praying for you over 30 years and you still have not
ain't changed.
That means that person haven't come to grips with themselves to say, you know what, I want to change badly. So therefore, it doesn't matter how much you're praying for them. Yes, God can intervene, but you have to want it as well.
Gotta want it. You gotta want it for yourself. People can't want it more than you want it. And I think that's like a big piece of that spousal relationship. If only one person wants that change to happen, it ain't gonna happen. But with that, and I just want to really touch upon what she said with, only person that can really change someone is God. God is able to change the hearts of man, even, some of the hardest killers. We look at, people in prison and people who have done things in their past. And as a society, I feel like we are very unforgiving to individuals because of, what we expect change to look like and how we expect change to take place and the timetables we put for change to happen, but sometimes you just got to look at the fruit of the tree. If you see a tree and inside of this tree, there's this fruit that's orange with like bumpy peels, and you peel it open and you taste it and that fruit is sweet, that's probably an orange tree. You're not going to be able to tell me that that's an apple tree or a cherry tree, because the tree will tell you, by the fruit it bears, it will tell you what kind of tree it is. So I think that's the same thing with change. You judge the fruit, and then you will be able to understand if change has really taken place. So with everything that's going on, I just want to wrap up with this thought right here. People can change. We're always going through a process of change throughout our life. So I don't think we should be judging people on things that they, may have done 40, 50 years ago because we don't understand the process that may have happened throughout their lifetime. If people would have looked at, where I was 20 years ago and judged me on that today, I wouldn't be where I am now. So, I think it's really due to just judge people on their fruit. Don't judge people on their past transgressions. Don't judge people from where they've been, but judge people on their fruit.
Yes, definitely. That's a good thought to end with. But we just want to say thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in to the Speak Life podcast.
Speak
we appreciate you.
Life
We appreciate
podcast.
you.
I sang it this
thank
week.
you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe,
Okay?
and don't forget to drop them
Subscribe.
comments. Drop them comments.
Yes,
You know,
let's
you want
keep
to
it
talk about
going.
something, we gotta, drop those comments, and we'll bring it on the docket. We're really excited about
Thank
this,
you.
and we believe that God is gonna do something amazing. Remember, death and life are in the power of your tongue. So always speak
Speak life.
life. Blessings.
Blessings.